I'm Nick, and Cooler Master heard you guys loud and clear from the comment section of our Cooler Master MasterFrame 600 video. This, ladies and gents, is one of the first MasterFrame 400s off the production line. What we're gonna do is take a look at the case that you guys have been asking us for. It's very, very quirky, and if I'm being honest, pretty darn cool. Let's take a closer look. All right, here it is, ladies and gents, the Cooler Master MasterFrame 400. This is an MATX case based on Cooler Master's new frame design cases. We saw this one at Phanteks this year, and when I looked at it, it was one of the cases that made me really interested in what Cooler Master was doing with all of their new cases. As for dimensions and the size of this case, to be honest, this case, we have no specifications for it whatsoever for this video at all. I'm going to make that very, very clear. This is a very early production sample of it, so there's just basically no product details on this. And I'm not even sure I'm allowed to be making this video right now, but I'm doing it anyway because, I mean, I'll ask for forgiveness later. So this is a quick side-by-side comparison with the MasterFrame 600, which is a full tower case. You can get a bit of an idea of what the size of the 400 is like. It is kind of like this nice middle ground size. And to be honest, this size is the size that I like the most when it comes to PC cases. For most people, MATX is all you're going to ever need. Much like the MasterFrame 600, every panel on this is magnetic, so it's very easy to get inside. You'd put your fingers in the top corner, and I've overlaid the front and the back side panels with this clip here because they're exactly the same on each side. I will note that the back panel is tempered glass as well, but it's not transparent. It's opaque and it's the same color as the silver of the case, but it is glass, so you need to be careful with that. To remove the front panel, you want to put your finger in the top corner and you can just pop that down and then you can pull it away from the case. Again, this is magnetic and there are little magnets that hold all of the panels into place in each of the corners. To remove the top panel, you want to put your fingers on the back edge so you can pop that and then tilt it. And it has a little hook and then you want to kind of yank that and lift that away from the case. There's also this little side panel here on the case, which is to help cover the power supply. And this can be removed with 2 screws very easily. The bottom of the case is removable as well, but because I decided, well, at this point in time, I decided not to remove it. I didn't take it off, but it is removable. You'll also notice that there are 2 bracing brackets that go across the whole length, which is for fan mounting, which I'll cover in just a moment. Now, let's go back to that front panel that we just removed. There is a mesh dust filter on the front, which can be removed, which is quite easy to clean. This is the only dust filter on the entire case because in the configuration, which you should be looking at, is using the front for intake for your power supply. However, I didn't do that in this build. And to be honest, it doesn't really affect thermals that much. On the front panel, there's a power button, there's a power light, which also has a disk activity light combined, 2 USB Type-A ports, a USB Type-C port, a combined headphone and microphone jack, and a reset button. As for the wiring itself, there's a USB Type-A cable, a USB Type-C cable, front panel audio, as well as the front panel connectors for all the lights and all the switches in a single block. Because this is a frame case from Cooler Master, the front I/O can be moved as well. It's just got 2 thumb screws that hold it into place, and you can see I loosened them just to give you an idea of how it moves. For motherboard support, because the MasterFrame 400 is an MATX case, it supports ITX and MATX motherboards. It also supports back connector MATX boards, and you can see here that I use the MSI B650M Project Zero because the aesthetic for this board, come on guys, it just suits this case so well, and back connectors in a case like this, why wouldn't you? For hard disk and SSD mounting, you can see there are these 2 brackets that are pre-installed. Now, these brackets are universal brackets, meaning that in this configuration, in the stock configuration, it's used to mount the power supply. There is another set of brackets included with the case that will allow you to install some 2.5-inch drives or some 3.5-inch drives, and you can also mount them on the brackets in this configuration. Not only that, This will also allow you to mount fans in the case as well. So let's say you wanted to use an SFX power supply. You can then move the bracket up and then you can install a fan underneath it with the two other brackets that come with the case. Like I mentioned, this is one of those frame cases, but it's not as complicated as the MasterFrame 600, which makes it better. Speaking of the power supply, in the default configuration, the MasterFrame 400 will support an ATX power supply. As you can see here, I installed one to give you guys a bit of an idea of what that would look like. You can also change the position of the power supply as well. So this is the default place. When I did the build, I moved it up to support the GPU, which we'll talk about in just a moment. As for fan and radiator support, there are those braces that I mentioned earlier. This is actually a fan mounting bracket. This will allow you to install a plethora of different fan sizes, 140mm, 120mm, and because this is a frame case as well, if you're doing custom liquid cooling, you could mount a radiator at the bottom as well. And by that, I mean a 360mm radiator. In the configuration that you're seeing here, the top bracket is set up to allow you to install 120mm fans, but because this is a frame case, you can move it to support 140mm fans or up to a 280mm radiator at the top of the case as well. In the case of the build that I did here, I decided to use a 360mm liquid cooler, and you can see that when I'm installing the cooler, it fits in perfectly with no issues whatsoever. As I've already mentioned, the power supply is in the default configuration in this clip, but I did move it up, as you're about to see here, with the graphics card support, because this case has massive graphics card compatibility. Now, I don't know exactly what that number is because there are no specifications for the case at the time of filming this video. Remember, guys, this is very, very early on. No one's even covered this case yet, and I'm installing the AORUS Master 5090, and it fits perfectly. As mentioned like 5,000 times already in the video, I did move the power supply up to another position to allow for this massive GPU to be installed. You can see what the position is in this clip here, so it makes a bit more sense. As well as that, the MasterFrame 400 does come with a GPU support bracket. It's one of those brackets that holds the top and the bottom of the GPU. You can also use this to hide the cable as well, which I kind of did in this build too. As for the cable management, you can see here that the cable management, to be honest, for me at least, this is better than the MasterFrame 600. There is a lot of space behind the motherboard tray to hide things, and it does come with Velcro tie downs. I didn't use them for this, but if you wanted to, you could. So I would say the cable management in the case of the MasterFrame 400 is rather good. I think that's everything you need to know about the MasterFrame 400 for now. And again, we'll probably come back and cover this in more detail when we have more information, but I wanted to get this one out super early because for me, to be honest, after seeing this at Phanteks, this was one of the cases that I was most excited for. I'm so glad that I got to take a really early look at this case. Man, what a nice case it is. All right, let's take a little bit of a look at the thermals of the MasterFrame 400. What you're seeing on your screen is something interesting. My initial idea with this case was not to install any intake on the bottom. I just wanted to have it nice and clean with nothing there, but that is a mistake. If you're looking at building in the MasterFrame 400, I think based on the hardware that I've got in here, which can get quite warm, you must use the bottom for intake. As you can see by the massive delta between the temperatures with and without intake at the bottom of the case. Now, I'd noticed this when I was testing, and I thought this may be the case considering There is no other place on the case in this configuration where it can physically pull air from. That's the result, guys. Use intake on the bottom of the case, right? Cool, right. If you're interested in any of the hardware, there's a PC part picker list down below, as well as some Amazon links if you want to purchase any of the hardware shown in this build. But I want to talk a little bit about the MasterFrame 400 because I have some thoughts. Initially, with the MasterFrame 600, you guys may have seen our review. If you haven't, go and watch that. But the summary for that is it was too big, too complicated, and if they were to ever make an MATX version, which they showed at Computex, then it would probably be a nice balance between all the things that we saw with the 600. And the 400, I gotta tell you, it delivers. It is gorgeous to look at, especially in the silver. Building in this thing is super duper easy. It's got back connector support for motherboards. The power supply mounting can be moved up or down, or basically anywhere there's mounting holes in the case. And to be honest with you guys, this is better than I thought it was gonna be. I was kind of put off a little bit by the MasterFrame 600, but Cooler Master said, hey, we've been cooking on the 400, and yeah, the 400 is just really, really nice. Like I said with the 600 video, the materials are the same here, but one thing the 400 I think has over the 600 is fan mounting. Now, why would that be different or better? Well, because the case is physically smaller, the mounting bars run the entire length of the case, and it doesn't use that tab-like mounting system that the 600 uses, and to me, that just makes it a whole lot easier to align all of your fans, or if you're liquid cooling, your radiators. That's just a much more elegant solution. I can see why they didn't do it on the 600 because of the length, and if it was too long, it begins to bow, but this is just the perfect balance. Not only that, here's where it's different again. On the top of the 400, it has the mounting holes, or rather the holes for aligning things along the shorter edge rather than just along the long edge like the 600. The reason why I know this is because I was looking at them both side by side, and I noticed that in terms of flexibility for mounting, the 400 to me seems like it is a little bit more flexible. Crazy, right? Smaller and more flexible. Also, interestingly enough, with power supply mounting, I found that in the default location, especially in this build with a GPU this size, this massive 5090 just wouldn't have fit. But there's so much space at the front that I moved it up a couple positions, and there is more than enough room for clearance for the liquid cooler, as well as the power supply fitting with no issues whatsoever. Oh, as well as the 5090 fitting in there. So good work, Cooler Master. You guys really made it. It's just a nice case to build. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like this case is almost the perfect balance for MATX, especially if you're looking at this type of form factor in cases like, let's say for instance, the A3 MATX, the XTM3 from Phanteks. This is kind of almost in that size range. It is a little bit bigger, but what you're getting is the width. And that means it also has back connector support, because some of those other cases, they don't support back connectors because of the width of the case. I gotta say guys, I just really like it. Silver cases, I don't know what it is. Every time I see one, I'm like, wow, it just looks good. And this case looks good. The thermals are a little bit hit and miss. Make sure you use intake fans at the bottom. But other than that, I gotta say it, this is way better than the 600, so good work, Cooler Master. I really, really like it. I know other reviewers will come out and talk about this case and probably disagree with me, but they're wrong. This case is awesome. I like it. I really, really like it. This is one of those cases that you can just put it on your desk. It's not too big and it fits everything. Yeah. Let us know your thoughts down below. This is the one you guys asked us for. And I can't believe that after seeing the comment section, well, not me seeing the comment section, but Cooler Master reading the comments, they're like, hey, we'll send you the 400. We've been cooking. And I'm glad they did that. In terms of pricing and availability for the MasterFrame 400, I don't know. I don't know what the pricing is. I don't know when it's gonna be available. In fact, this is so fresh off the production line that this didn't even come in retail packaging. So yeah, I'm actually glad I got to play around with this nice and early, because I do like it. It is really good. Way better than the 600, honestly. So it's nice. It's nice. It's really, really nice. I think you guys are gonna like it.